Alright guys, so the pots have finally came in. I'm pretty excited about it. We have the the alternator, the starter, the coil, the fuel gauge, the voltmeter, this bracket to hold the generator on. Why do I keep saying generator? The alternator on. So that's what I've been told is all I need. I need like the light bulbs, and which I already have the headlights in, the tail lights, and all the the little lights, like the little map reading light. You have to get that light bulb. But I ordered all these pots through Willys, who was really helpful. Mike from Willys, thank you. You helped me out a lot because a lot of times I don't know exactly what to order, but they helped me guide me right through it. And because I mentioned that I would mention their name and stuff on the video, they gave me a little bit of a discount. So that helps. Anything helps, especially doing this project all out of pocket. It can get pretty expensive, especially this pot. This pot was pretty expensive. That was part of the reason I was a little reluctant to do it, because I already had the pots in there, and but the more I looked at them, the worse they were looking. I don't think the generator was working. It wasn't charging the battery when I'd run it, and we know the starter didn't work. So I had to make the call whether I was going to use the old pots or buy new, and you know what? I ended up going new, and I don't regret it at all. It was a little more money than I wanted to spend, but it's well worth it. So the conversion to 12 volt, I'm going to break it up into two pots for two reasons. I don't want to make a real long video of doing this process, and the one thing that was back ordered is the wiring harness for this. So what I'm going to do at this point is just install the alternator, the starter, and the coil in this here, which is the mounting bracket for the alternator. So I'm going to do that part now, and I'm going to just hot wire it so I can just move this in and out of the garage, because what I want to do while I'm waiting for the wire harness to come in is I want to bring Bruce in and start working on him. I want to start doing brakes and some of the other stuff, maybe start working on the motor. I haven't really 100% decided whether I'm going to keep this motor or go with a newer motor, or one that's in better shape. But I just wanted to keep you up to date on what's going on, and let's get to it. I'm gonna get set up and we'll start taking stuff out. Alright, so just to give you another quick rundown on what I ended up getting, I got the alternator that actually comes with the wire there with a resistor built in, the starter, the voltmeter, the fuel gauge, and a 12 volt coil, and also this bracket for mounting the alternator. Alright, so I did my best on trying to line this up. This bracket is adjustable. So I think I took a couple of measurements, and to line up this pulley with the other pulleys, that seemed like the best spot for it. I just had to move it over one hole. So I'm going to give it a shot now. Alright, with that tightened up, looks like that pulley's going to line up pretty good. But the only issue I'm having is I think I have the wrong tension bracket here. This is the original one, but I think it might be the wrong one for this, because I think it has to have a curve. I looked up in the Kaiser Willys book, and it has a different tension arm. So I think I'm not going to be able to complete this. I think I'm going to just do something so it holds it temporary. And then I'm going to actually order that, and hopefully that comes in with the wiring harness. I use this clip temporarily because I ended up finding the right bracket for it. So I'm going to reinstall this good one. So one of these bolts ended up breaking off right here. I don't know if we did it or if that's how it was, but I'm going to drill that out and re-tap that. Alright, so finally I'm going to install the starter. They had mentioned on the instructions, if this surface here does not lay flat and it hits the side of the motor, to actually grind part of this down. But I've already tried it and it seems to work pretty well. So I shouldn't have to do that. But what I do have to do is take off this jumper that goes to the solenoid, built-in solenoid, because I'm going to use this solenoid and not the solenoid that came with it. So typically if you use that one, you would just tie the battery cable, the cable coming from the solenoid right to this, and this would jump out and actuate the solenoid valve or solenoid. But I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to bring the wire straight from the key or the ignition and go right to this. All right, so that worked out pretty well. Like I had mentioned, I'm definitely going to get the right tension bracket for that. The pulley lines up fairly well. The starter's in, get the coil in. So that's pretty good. Good progress for today. It actually all was relatively easy. It all bolted up pretty good. I'm going to actually keep all these old parts. I do that with all of my vehicles, anything that I replaced. Even if they're bad, I keep them. Just because you never know when it might get hard to replace the parts. And if you have the old ones, you might be able to have them rebuilt. So on the next video, I'll install the fuel gauge and the voltmeter. And also I'll have the new wiring harness. They give you a good schematic on how to wire everything up. And hopefully I'm going to get one also, I believe, with the wiring harness. Alright guys, well thanks for hanging out with me today in the garage. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is going to be a two-part video series of doing the 12 volt conversion. Today's video was installing the major components. But the next video is going to be wiring. I'm going to get a wiring harness from Willys and I'm going to install that. So that will end up completing the whole system. I don't know when that's coming in. It might be coming in 2 weeks. They said it's taken a little while for the wiring harnesses to get delivered. So in the meantime, I might either do a couple odds and ends on Ned, or I might start working on Bruce's motor. I know I keep saying that I'm going to work on his motor, then I end up working on Ned again, but I really am reluctant to start a new project without finishing the old project. But I think it's going to be productive to just start working a little bit on Bruce's motor. I'd like to take the jugs off, take the pistons off, and maybe take a scope. We have a scope that we use for plumbing. And I might take a scope and look inside the motor and see if there's anything that I can see in there or that we can see. But that's going to be it for today, and I will see you on the next video. If you like these videos, I have a bunch of other videos that go along with Ned, and I have videos on FC build that I did and a little bit on my Scout and MG. But take a look at those videos, see if you like them. If you do like my videos, if you could like and subscribe, it helps on my channel a lot, and I really appreciate it. So I'll see you on the next video. Have a great week, guys.